Welcome back to ABCGH Spoilers channel. Today, we unravel the latest drama-filled twists and turns from General Hospital that are bound to shake things up. Betrayals, shocking revelations, and unexpected alliances take center stage this week, promising nothing short of emotional fireworks. Let's dive into the action-packed developments that will leave fans on the edge of their seats. Danny Morgan's fury reaches a boiling point. Will he seek revenge? The young and determined Danny Morgan is teetering on the edge of an emotional explosion. When he learns that Cyrus Renault is at the center of Sam McCall's investigation, his reaction is nothing short of volcanic. His body tenses, his heart pounds, and his mind races with thoughts of justice or perhaps something darker. For someone so young, Danny has already seen too much of the brutal world that surrounds him. His father, Jason Morgan, has spent years navigating the murky underworld of power, deception, and violence. Now, as Danny clenches his fists and breathes heavily, it becomes clear that he is his father's son. The fire in his eyes mirrors Jason's when he's out for blood. "I need to find him," Danny exclaims, his voice thick with anger as he glares at Rocco Falconeri, his best friend turned accidental informant. The weight of those words isn't lost on Rocco, who instantly realizes he may have said too much. A lump forms in his throat. Did he just give Danny dangerous information that could push him into an irreversible decision? If Danny truly intends to track down Cyrus, who will stop him? Will Jason intervene in time, or will Danny make a reckless move that forces him to grow up far too fast? The road ahead is uncertain, but one thing is clear: Danny is not going to let this go. Sasha's desperate plea: will Jason play along? Meanwhile, across town, Sasha Gilmore Corbin is a woman on the edge. She storms into the room, eyes blazing, breath ragged. The tension in the air is thick enough to cut with a knife, and before anyone can react, she throws her drink directly into Cody Bell's face. The liquid splashes, the shock silences the entire space, and Cody, blinking in disbelief, can only stare after her as she storms off in search of the one man who might be able to fix this mess, Jason Morgan. Finding him isn't the hard part. Convincing him is. "Jason," Sasha pleads, her voice breaking. "You have to let people think you're the father of my baby. It's the only way." Jason studies her with an unreadable expression, his piercing eyes searching hers. He has never been one for emotional manipulation, but he also understands desperation when he sees it. And Sasha? She's drowning in it. She goes on, her voice trembling. "If you do this, you're not just helping me, you're helping Michael. His custody case depends on this." Jason leans back, arms crossed, his face carved from stone. He knows better than anyone the weight of deception, the domino effect of one well-intentioned lie. If he agrees, will he be protecting Michael, or setting them all up for an even greater downfall? Sasha waits, heart pounding. Every second that ticks by feels like an eternity. Will Jason say yes? Elizabeth's heroic moment, a friend in the making? At Charlie's pub, Lucky Spencer watches Elizabeth Baldwin closely, his curiosity piqued. He knows Elizabeth well enough to recognize when she's holding something back. "How did you save the day this time?" he asks, leaning forward, a smirk playing on his lips. Elizabeth lets out a soft laugh, but there's an edge to it, one that hints at just how chaotic things have been. She recounts the dramatic encounter at the park, where Ava Jerome's impulsive actions nearly spiraled out of control. Elizabeth had stepped in, guided by instinct, knowing that the situation could have ended much worse. But as she speaks, something unexpected happens. Isaiah Gannon listens, and he understands. There's a quiet moment between them, a flicker of recognition. "You know," Isaiah says, his voice low but sure, "you remind me of someone I used to know, always in the right place at the wrong time." Elizabeth chuckles, shaking her head. "Story of my life. Is this the beginning of a new friendship? Or perhaps something more?" Sonny's battle for Avery. Ava's move sparks war. Sonny Corinthos is a man who has faced countless enemies, but few have infuriated him as much as Ava Jerome. Sitting on the plane home, He replays Christina Davis' call in his mind, the warning about Ava's latest scheme to take Avery from the park. The crisis had been narrowly avoided thanks to Rick Lansing stepping in, but Sonny knows better than to assume Ava is done trying. He turns to Natalia Ramirez, who has been an unwavering pillar of support, and sighs. She's going to try again. And I won't let her win. Natalia studies him for a moment before speaking. You fought harder battles than this, Sonny. You'll protect Avery. You always do. There's comfort in her words, but Sonny knows this fight is far from over. Ava is unpredictable, ruthless, and determined. This won't end with one failed attempt, this is just the beginning of another war. Nina's emotional confession, how much will she say? Nina Reeves is standing at the edge of a metaphorical cliff, peering down at the truth she's too afraid to speak. She has kept so many secrets, but now, standing before Willow Corinthos, she wonders, should she finally let one go? Willow's words echo in her ears. I don't want to hide my relationship with Drew anymore. Something about that statement cracks Nina open. Her breath catches, her heart stammers. I get it, Nina whispers, tears brimming in her eyes. I understand why you fell for Drew. The words slip out before she can stop them, and suddenly, she realizes just how close she is to revealing everything. The truth, the tangled mess of her past with Drew Quartermain, is right there, begging to be spoken. Will she say it? Or will she let fear hold her back once again? Curtis warning, is Jordan walking into a trap? Curtis Ashford is not a man who takes risks lightly, especially when it comes to people he cares about. That's why he's not mincing words when he tells Jordan Ashford, whatever this guy wants, just say no. He's talking about Jen Sidwell, a man Curtis doesn't trust as far as he can throw him. Jordan, however, isn't as easily convinced. You think I can't handle myself, she challenges. It's not about that, Curtis replies. It's about knowing when you're walking into something dangerous. Will Jordan heed his warning, or is she already in too deep? A week of explosive consequences, who will come out on top? From shocking pleas to dangerous choices, this week at General Hospital is one that no one will forget. Danny's anger, Sasha's desperation, Sonny's war, and Nina's almost confession, every storyline is teetering on the brink of something huge. Will Jason agree to Sasha's lie? Will Danny take justice into his own hands? And will Sonny finally put an end to Ava's custody threats? One thing is certain, Port Charles is about to be rocked to its core. Next, we dive into the latest gripping developments in Port Charles, where shocking confrontations, emotional betrayals, and unexpected revelations set the stage for a dramatic week. From tense apologies to mysterious spy games, let's unravel all the chaos that is about to unfold on General Hospital. Cyrus Renault's shadow looms over Joslyn at Bobby's as Jocelyn Jax takes a deep breath behind the counter at Bobby's. She steels herself for what she's about to do. The tension is thick as Cyrus Renault strides into the establishment, his eyes scanning the room with his usual unsettling composure. There's a flicker of surprise on his face when Joslyn meets his gaze head-on and, instead of confrontation, offers something unexpected, a sincere apology. Joslyn, always headstrong and fiercely loyal to those she loves, explains that her anger over Dex's death had clouded her judgment. Cyrus had become an easy target, a villain in her mind, but now that the police have ruled him out as a suspect, she acknowledges she was wrong to jump to conclusions. Her words are measured but genuine, and for once, Cyrus seems at a loss. He nods, studying her intently as if trying to determine whether her apology is a trap. Deciding not to push his luck, he declines to place an order and instead silently takes his leave. But before he disappears into the streets of Port Charles, he pauses outside the diner, glancing back through the window at Joss. His face betrays nothing, but the wheels in his mind are clearly turning. Is he contemplating forgiveness, or is he plotting his next move? Christina steps up as a big sister, but what is Joslyn up to? Meanwhile, inside Bobby's, Christina Corinthos Davis looks up from her coffee as Joslyn slides into the booth across from her, the urgency clear in her expression. "I need you to take Donna and Avery for a bit," Joss says without preamble. Christina blinks in surprise but doesn't hesitate. "Of course. What's going on?" Joslyn brushes off the question, saying it's something she needs to handle alone. However, Christina isn't convinced. As she helps bundle the girls up for their trip to the park, she casually asks, "Is Avery still asking about her mom?" Joss nods, a hint of reluctance in her voice. "Yeah. She calls Ava before bed, but she's more excited that Sonny's coming home soon." The conversation lingers in Christina's mind even as she heads out with Donna and Avery. If Joslyn is deliberately keeping something from her, it must be serious. But what exactly is she planning? Willow's marriage is beyond saving, but what's next? At the same time, Willow Corinthos sits across from Martin Gray, her arms crossed as she listens to him lay out the legalities of her impending divorce. There is no hesitation in her voice when she says, "There's no chance of saving my marriage." Martin nods, already prepared for this outcome. Then we need to respond to Diane and Michael's divorce request. We can push for full custody and alimony. The words settle between them like an unspoken battle cry. For Willow, this isn't just about legal paperwork, it's about ensuring stability for herself and her child. Michael may have been the love of her life once, but that chapter has ended. The only question now is, what comes next for her? Sasha and Willow's tense encounter, will old wounds reopen? After wrapping up her meeting with Martin, Willow barely has time to gather her thoughts before she unexpectedly crosses paths with Sasha Gilmore Corbin. There's a flicker of tension between them as Sasha immediately remarks, "I heard you moved out of the gatehouse." Willow stiffens slightly, already anticipating where this is going. "And? Just wondering where you landed," Sasha says, her tone carefully neutral. "Are you staying with Nina? Or did you already move in with Drew?" Willow's lips press together. "I'm staying with Nina, not that it's any of your business." Though she tries to brush it off, Sasha's words strike a nerve. Is Willow truly comfortable with her new living situation, or is there an underlying regret she's not ready to face? Cody faces a tough conversation with Felicia. Can he make amends? Over at the Port Charles Grill, Cody Bell slides into his seat across from Felicia Scorpio, looking wary. "So, what's this about?" he asks. Felicia folds her hands on the table, meeting his gaze with a knowing look. "This is an opportunity. You've been making some serious mistakes, Cody. You owe someone an apology." Cody exhales, rubbing a hand over his face. He's no stranger to missteps, but hearing it from Felicia makes it sting a little more. He knows she's right. He's burned some bridges, and if he doesn't start making things right, he could end up more alone than he already feels. But is he truly ready to face the consequences of his actions? Jason Morgan returns to chaos. What is the truth? At the Quartermain mansion, Jason Morgan walks through the door, fresh off his flight from Germany, only to be met by Tracy Quartermain's sharp gaze. "Looking for your latest baby mama," she quips, crossing her arms. Jason blinks, clearly thrown. "What?" Tracy doesn't hold back. She fills him in on the explosive argument between Carly and Drew, revealing that Drew accused Jason of fathering their cook's child. Jason stares at her, processing the absurdity of it all. "And you believe that?" Tracy smirks. "I don't know. Will you deny it?" Jason exhales slowly, shaking his head. "I don't owe you an explanation. That's all the confirmation Tracy needs." "Fine. But you might want to tell your son before he hears it from someone else." As Jason takes in her words, the weight of the rumors settling over him, one thing becomes clear: this mess isn't going away anytime soon. Cyrus Renault has his own agenda. What is he up to? Back at the hospital, Cyrus Renault keeps a watchful eye on Elizabeth Baldwin as she works at the nurse's station. His expression is unreadable, his intentions unclear. Nearby, Rick Lansing arrives with a bouquet of flowers, a small smile tugging at his lips. "First day back, I figured you deserved something nice." Elizabeth smiles, grateful for his thoughtfulness. "Thanks for everything you've done to help." As they talk, Rick casually mentions that he checked into Cyrus' parole conditions. "It's pretty standard. No weapons, no shady dealings." Cyrus stiffens, subtly eavesdropping. His eyes darken as he listens. Is Rick onto something? Does he know more than he's letting on? Rick then suggests a walk, and Elizabeth hesitates, remembering their last one. "The last time we went for a walk, Alexis chucked a gun off a bridge." He grins. "Consider this payment for my legal help." With a reluctant smile, Elizabeth agrees, and they leave together. Cyrus watches them go, his mind working overtime. Whatever he's planning, he's not done yet. A week of drama, twists, and unraveled truths. As the week unfolds in Port Charles, secrets come to light, alliances are tested, and choices carry consequences that will ripple far and wide. Will Jason get to the bottom of the rumors surrounding him? Will Willow find peace after her divorce? And just what is Cyrus plotting next? Next, we delve into the latest dramatic turns in Port Charles, where past wounds resurface, relationships are tested, and unexpected alliances form. From tense encounters at the park to deep emotional confessions, this week's General Hospital has plenty in store. Let's break down the biggest moments ahead. Rick Lansing confronts Ava, what's really going on? The crisp air of the park carries an underlying tension as Rick Lansing makes his way toward Ava Jerome, his expression unreadable but his intentions clear. Just moments earlier, he and Elizabeth had been on a peaceful stroll, but as soon as Rick spotted Ava locked in a heated discussion with Christina and the children, he knew he had to step in. "Liz, stay here with Christina and the girls." "I need a word with Ava," Rick says, his voice firm but controlled. Elizabeth watches as Rick strides toward Ava, who meets his gaze with an almost amused smirk. "To what do I owe the pleasure, Rick?" she quips, though her playful tone doesn't quite mask her wariness. Rick doesn't waste time. "You and I both know you're not just here for a casual visit with Avery. What are you really up to, Ava?" The words hang in the air between them, thick with accusation and unspoken history. Ava lifts her chin, as if considering whether to play coy or give Rick a piece of her mind. But before she can respond, Christina calls out behind them, her patience wearing thin. "If you two are going to have it out, at least do it away from the kids," Christina snaps, folding her arms. Ava sighs dramatically but nods, signaling Rick to follow her to a more secluded spot. What Rick has to say clearly won't be pleasant, but Ava isn't one to back down from a fight. Christina and Ava's custody clash, who will win this round? Before Rick had intervened, the tension between Christina and Ava had already reached its boiling point. Avery Corinthos, her eyes lighting up at the sight of her mother, had rushed into Ava's arms, eager to share details of her latest school project. Donna stood nearby, nodding enthusiastically as Avery spoke about gathering pine cones for a special assignment. Ava, clearly savoring the moment, stroked Avery's hair and smiled warmly. "How about I take you to see my new apartment? You can check out your new bedroom, sweetheart." But before Avery could respond, Christina stepped forward, placing a protective hand on her little sister's shoulder. "That's not happening, Ava," she said flatly. Ava's expression turned sharp, the warmth in her eyes cooling instantly. "Excuse me?" Christina didn't flinch. Sonny made it clear that Avery stays put while he's out of town. "If you have a problem with that, take it up with him when he gets back." The two women stared each other down, their ongoing battle over Avery's well-being rekindling in an instant. Was Ava simply trying to bond with her daughter, or was she making another attempt to gain leverage in Sonny's absence? Either way, Christina wasn't about to let her make the rules. Kai's apology to Trina, can they rebuild their friendship? While the heated custody debate continued on one side of the park, a very different conversation was unfolding on the other. Trina Robinson had come to the park expecting a quiet moment with Ava, but she hadn't expected to run into Kai Taylor. The moment she saw him, her breath hitched slightly. He was out of the hospital. Already? Kai, seemingly sensing her surprise, gave her a small smile. Yeah, just got out today. Aunt Stella told me you were here. I had a feeling I'd find you. Trina hesitated, unsure what to say. The last time they'd spoken, things had been tense. She had given him the space he'd asked for, but she still wasn't sure if that had been the right choice. Kai sighed, running a hand through his hair. Look, I owe you an apology, he said finally. I took my frustration out on you, and that wasn't fair. Trina nodded slowly. I get it. You had a lot going on. Kai chuckled softly, shaking his head. You know what? The past few weeks were rough, but you visiting me and bossing me around in the hospital? That was actually the best part. Trina's lips curved into a small smile. I bossed you around, huh? He grinned. A little. But I didn't mind. There was an undeniable shift in the air between them, something neither of them had quite anticipated. Was this the beginning of a deeper connection, or just an overdue reconciliation? Trina's guilt, did she cause Kai's injury? Before Kai had arrived, Trina had been lost in thought, confiding in Ava about the guilt she had been carrying. I wasn't as much help as I thought I was, Trina admitted, staring at the ground. Ava frowned. What do you mean? Trina sighed. Kai's best friend said I distracted him. That I split his attention between football and our art project. What if I did? What if that's why he got hurt? Ava's eyebrows shot up. That's ridiculous, Trina. Football is a dangerous sport. You didn't cause his injury, fate did. Trina chewed on her lip, unconvinced. Kai asked for space, so I'm trying to respect that. Sometimes, you have to go through things on your own. Ava had opened her mouth to respond, but at that moment, Kai himself had arrived, proving that perhaps Trina's assumption wasn't entirely accurate. Why was Ava really at the park? Earlier, before Trina had started opening up, she had noticed something odd about Ava's behavior. Ava, why are we even here? Trina had asked. You hate the cold. Ava had waved her off. My apartment is like a sauna. Needed some fresh air.